1. Mahamudra. Some Kriyabans prepare Mahamudra with the forward bendings by Swami Hariharananda. The teachings of Swami Hariharananda are discussed in chapter 10. Other complete the balancing action of Mahamudra with the classic breathing exercise Nadi Shodhana Pranayam. If you test these two optional additions, you will never forget them. 2. Kriya proper. Kriya with open or closed mouth. Value of both. Kechari Mudra. Mental of chanting of Om in each chakra. Both methods, Kriya with open, semi-closed or closed mouth, are good. The logic order is, first mouth open then closed. The hypothesis that only open mouth pranayam causes the energy to flow through the Sushumna channel, implying that the lateral currents of Ida and Pingala have no role, is baseless. Breath and energy move in Sushumna only when the breath is subtle, internalized, and this happens after a great effort of concentration and relaxation. Many Kriya students know that a few direct disciples of PY practiced with mouth closed. As for Kechari Mudra, I was glad to see that a good number of Kriyabans had achieved it, some having applied the classic exercise of Talabya Kriya from my book, others by following the tips found in a yoga website. One of my Kriyaban friends had a strange opinion. He stated that pranayam with Kechari was too weak, being deprived of the strong sensations in the spine that you feel with mouth pranayam. It was clear that this friend had tormented himself for a long time before taking his decision to give up Kechari Mudra. Now reviewing that episode, I think that the problem was the purity, the beauty of the sounds of the breath obtained with the open or semi-closed mouth. He experimented that with the mouth perfectly closed and found that the sound of the breath was not so pure and strong. At that time he had not the information that with the mouth closed and the tongue in Kechari Mudra, even baby Kechari, the sound was destined to become clean like that of a flute. I was not able to explain that this flute sound was experienced only after years of committed practice. This information was found later. We had not clear in mind that the flute-like sound appears only when the spine is clean, like an empty tube. During the first Kriya breaths, unless you have mastered the Samadhi state, even if your concentration is perfect, it is clear that the mind, the breath and the prana have not totally entered Sushumna. Ida and Pingala do have a role. When they are balanced, Sushumna currents start to manifest. You feel this when your awareness starts to detach from the external, physical world and is attracted by the spine and the joy of internal breathing. Mouth pranayam has the remarkable power of granting a clear cold and warm sensations in the spine, therefore it is reasonable to start Kriya pranayam in this way. Curiosity 1, Elliptic Path. In Yogi we read that the Kriya yogi mentally directs his life energy to revolve, upward and downward, around the 6 spinal centers. 1/2 minute of revolution of energy around the sensitive spinal cord. This does not match with the technique we had received. How is it possible? Not everyone knew that there were 2 versions of the Kriya proper, one taught in 1930 and the more recent, definitive one. In my opinion, a serious Kriyaban should know and have experience of both versions. The first one matched perfectly that description. Having found that version online, many practice in that way. I suppose that who reads this appendix knows well both. Curiosity 2, a definitive help to prepare the spine for the practice of Kriya proper procedure. Some Kriyabans reminded me, actually I found this information in the correspondence course but then forgotten, that PY explains how a Kriyaban can gently sway the spine of few centimeters to the left and to the right. In this way she succeeds in perceiving the astral spine as separated from the physical one. He also taught to move the consciousness along the spine while mentally chanting Om in the location of each chakra. These 2 teachings are very simple but the result can leave you astonished. 3. Repeating Mahamudra. Jyoti Mudra. The repetition of Mahamudra at this point of the routine helps to raise the Kundalini energy along the spinal tunnel. Coupled with Jyoti Mudra, it helps to win a strong obstacle in the spine. I mean the knot of Muladhara, Kutastha called Rudra Granthi. In other words, by repeating Mahamudra and by practicing Jyoti Mudra, you prepare yourself in the best of the ways for the meditation phase of your Kriya routine. Meditation 1. Focus on Kutastha. Let a certain number of natural breaths happen. Natural means without any effort to produce the sound in the throat and without any visualization concerning the movement of energy in the spine. Put your whole being in Kutastha in a way that nothing exists outside that cave of peace. These breaths are not counted, forget also the time dot. Maybe you have also cold and warm sensations in the spine. If this happens, enjoy them intensely. The more you do, the more your prana is approaching to the Sushumna. You are flying along the spinal tunnel towards a state of paradisiac tranquility. Your pacified mind will no more be an obstacle to perceive the divine presence beyond your thoughts and individuality. Unfortunately, some prefer to remain immovable only, waiting for the time go by. This reminds me a person who is waiting that the shot of medicine given into a muscle by an injection spreads pacifically and be possible to stand up and walk without compromising the action of such treatment. I respect of course this choice, I respect any choice, but I feel my duty to speak sincerely. In my opinion, a Kriyaban often misses a wonderful tool, like, for example, Hong So. Meditation 2. Focus on Kutastha with Hong So mantra. We know that PY taught two systems of spiritual practice. The first was the Yogananda system, recharging exercises, Hong So, or meditation technique. The second is the Kriya Yoga system, Kriya proper, Mahamudra, Jyoti Mudra plus higher Kriyas. The Yogananda system derives from the religious movement Radha Swami, the second from Lahiri Mahasaya. The Yogananda system is not a simple preparation to Kriya Yoga but is a spiritual part complete in itself, effective and worthy of our total respect. To practice them both in the same routine, putting Kriya Yoga, which consists in the art of pranayam, at the end or the routine is deeply wrong. This creates a big impoverishment of the practice. The result is excellent if such fusion happens according to Patanjali's teachings. First the pranayam stage, then the meditation practices. Only in this way these two systems can be merged into a unique, coherent system of practices. A note about the Hong So technique. Often this technique is introduced as a procedure to develop concentration. Actually, this does not happen. The first consideration is that the Hong So technique does not give you as by magic the ability of concentration if you do not already possess it. The Hong So mantra is not a magical formula that, when repeated many times, calms invariably the breathing process. This technique is also taught with So during inhalation and Hong during exhalation. You discover that the effect is the same. In order to see the power of this technique, you must be endowed with the ability to maintain a high level of concentration during all the practice. Only then the breath calms down. Usually, at this point of your routine, it is not too difficult to enter that high level of concentration state. But be very careful. While you are watching your breath, never establish a rhythm in the mental chanting of Hong So. If by mentally chanting this mantra you follow a rhythm, this rhythm will never settle down. If you relax your keen awareness of the breath and remain there as if hypnotized by the pleasing sound of the two syllables Hong and So, you shall be disappointed. Your mind will not be prone to being internalized and will not guide you to the state of calm breath. Don't permit that the implacable rhythm of the litany, Hong So, Hong So, Hong So, Hong So, marches onward like the clackety-clack of the wheels of a train. If your body can physiologically stay off breath for some instants or for long moments, the rhythm should not cause the breathing process continue implacably. If you don't let the pauses exist, then you will never realize you are in the condition of living the emancipating experience of the breathless state. Be always very attentive to each pause. Respect it, have care of it, merge with it, Enjoy the beauty of this pause, no matter if it lasts just an instant. Another point is important. The pause after inhalation is different from the pause after exhalation. In normal, not controlled, breathing, there is a tendency to exhale immediately after inhalation. Inhaling, the rib cage expands and gets into an elastic tension. If there is no control, this elastic force, even if it is minimal, is released immediately after inhalation. If you want to practice the Hong So technique in the best of the ways, you should control the natural reflex to exhale as soon as the inhalation is completed. This is possible only in one way. After inhalation, wait calmly and without any forcing the stimulus to exhale. Accept that the rib cage remains expanded and therefore in slight tension for some instance. When, after this pause, the stimulus to exhale appears, exhale. This slight tension, in this particular phase of the practice, is to be respected.